Superman is the greatest orgasm faker of all time. Alright, stay with me. This is what Saiyans could have been if they locked in. Look, Saiyans probably stronger than Viltrumites, but if they had locked in, no, it could have been this. They were mostly just slaves, bro. Slaves making other people slaves. Hey people, it's Trellec. It's been a while, like 2-3 months. But today we're going to be looking at Death Battle, Omni-Man versus Homelander. Me personally, I think the answer is pretty clear. Omni-Man obviously stomps the fuck out of this guy. Homelander. What impressive feats does Homelander even have? I remember he hasn't done really anything impressive in the show. I think I remember in the comic he picked. I think I saw him. What did he do again? Oh yeah, he threw a jet one time. I guess that's something. Anyway, go show some support to Death Battle. I appreciate some support too. Let's get into this.
Omni-Man, the Invincible champion from planet Viltrum.
Homelander, the world's greatest superhero, brought to you by Vought International.
Few heroes have stood the test of time with more aplomb than the very first, Superman. But what if absolute power did, in fact, corrupt absolutely?
Answer, we're all screwed. He's Wiz and I'm Boomstick.
And it's our job to analyze their weapons, armor, and skills to find out who would win a death battle.
Look, up in the sky. It's a bird. It's a plane. No, it's Omni-Man. Had you go in there for a second, huh?
Not really. His name is in the title of the video.
Well, you might be forgiven for mistaking Nolan Grayson for his classic comic inspiration. He's even got that sexy mustache that he's not afraid to hide with terrible CGI. Born on the planet Viltrum, Nolan was sent to Earth to act as its superpowered alien defender and spread the enlightenment of his utopian homeworld.
And as his superhero alter ego Omni-Man, there was no one better suited to the task. He saved the world countless times, worked alongside the Guardians of the Globe, and even married and had a son, Mark.
Life couldn't be better, until Mark inherited his dad's Viltrumite powers. That's when Mark found out that his dad was a stinking rat bastard liar.
Turns out, Viltrum wasn't exactly the peaceful utopia Nolan promised.
Peaceful in the sense that they culled half their population, murdering billions with their bare hands until only the strongest were left.
It could have been Saiyans. This is what Saiyans could have been if they locked in. Look, Saiyans probably stronger than Viltrumites, but if they had locked in, no, it could have been this. They were mostly just slaves, bro. Slaves making other people slaves.
United by a common purpose.
This
Grammarly helps me get the best grades possible while depleting the least amount of hours of my week.
Viltrumite empire then went on to conquer planet after planet in their home galaxy, murdering any who dared oppose them. So just scratch that whole peaceful part entirely.
And turns out Omni-Man was here to do that same thing to Earth. Sorry, Mark. Your dad's a dick.
Even worse, he's easily the most powerful being on the entire planet.
Imagine combining the raw power of a Kryptonian and the bloodlust of a Saiyan. And what you get is basically a Viltrumite.
Due to their unique DNA, Viltrumites are composed of smart atoms that they can manipulate to achieve superhuman feats, like holding their breath for weeks on end by drawing more energy from the oxygen inside them.
Kinda reminds me of that whole bioelectric aura thing Superman has. That's basically how comic writers bullshit a science-y explanation.
Everything's in his body. Okay.
For his powers.
Except smart atoms make even less sense. How can atomic structure be designated by your DNA? DNA is made of atoms. It's completely nonsensical biological hogwash that I cannot stand.
Uh-oh, comics fans. I'm calling this debunked. Viltrumites can fly, withstand near absolute zero temperatures, and even possess insane healing factors. You know, stuff like getting punched through the stomach, having your guts ripped out, or having your face smashed up in a tomato soup. I don't mean to exaggerate, but Viltrumites in this series get fucked up and somehow survive.
However, too much trauma to the brain or heart can overtax their healing factors, and intense heat can be especially damaging.
Even the most powerful Viltrumites can be killed by extended baths in the spicy hot plasma of a star.
And because of their abilities, their inner ear vestibular system is far more sensitive than a regular human's. Intense sonic pressure will disrupt their fragile equilibrium and even prevent them from flying.
Though pushing themselves to their physical limits only ends up making them way stronger. And considering Nolan has been alive and planet conquering for thousands of years, he is easily one of the toughest Viltrumites around. Like, other aliens attacking him will literally splatter their bodies against him. But Mark didn't inherit everything from his dad. Despite his alien genes, Mark was raised as a human with our weak, pathetic human values like love and compassion, and not brutally murdering the shit out of everyone you see like a maniac. Really made it difficult for Nolan to relate to his kid.
Such as when these aliens invaded Earth. Mark tried his best to minimize casualties and outsmart his numerically superior foes.
Nolan, meanwhile, tackled their leader through the portal back to their homeworld, then spent some time systematically annihilating their planet for even daring to take Earth from him. Classic generational divide.
Annihilate is underselling it. Nolan flew so fast that his body lit their planet's atmosphere on fire, creating massive country-sized explosions, with his own body as the projectile.
Omni-Man has flown across galaxies in only a week, survived punching a hole through a planet, and
Okay, to be fair, there was a lot of context and a lot of preparation, and he probably, any mistake, and he probably would have, splattered on the ground.
even deflected a meteor the size of Texas.
Assuming that means the diameter of the meteor is equivalent to the distance from the top of the Panhandle to the Gulf of Mexico, that would make it 1,300 kilometers wide.
And weigh over 4.6 quintillion tons. Moving at re-entry speeds of over 11,000 meters per second, it had hit with enough energy to destroy the moon twice over.
So Omni-Man is strong enough to slaughter those who considered him an ally, the Guardians of the Globe, all to ensure as seamless a transition.
I feel they threw baseball around the Earth. Space Racer, Guardians of the Globe.
To the coming Viltrumite rule as possible.
Too bad for Nolan, it wouldn't be that easy, because he'd have to go through his son first.
Mark was horrified by his father's treachery, spurred on by the reveal that Nolan only viewed his mother as a pet, a disposable broodmare. Invincible fought Omni-Man to save the planet.
And that's when Mark's real Viltrumite training began. Get it? Training? Like the trade?
Yes, we get it. It was a good pun. Jesus.
But if anything, it was Omni-Man that learned a lesson about humanity that day.
He may have tried to turn Mark into a Viltrumite, but in reality, as Nolan fled Earth with tears in his eyes, Mark made his father human. This episode. Welcome to Vought International, a multi-billion-dollar American conglomerate whose #1 products are the greatest superheroes on the face of the earth.
That's right, superheroes are real and they're big business.
Imagine a company that possesses a monopoly on popular culture, pumping out movies, TV shows, action figures, and video games constantly, drowning the masses in a slurry of focus-tested nostalgia opium with no end in sight.
Yeah, imagine.
Within Vought's pantheon of gods among men is their premier super team, the Seven, and its leader, Homelander.
He's got the looks, the charm, the Jesus, and most importantly, he's got the power to slaughter all of America's enemies at home and abroad. This guy probably eats freedom and shits eagles.
But Homelander's squeaky clean corporate sheen is only skin deep. Far from the big blue Boy Scout he's marketed as.
All right, John. 41, 5'11", 165. 165? Nah, bro. This guy cheating. He was definitely floating on the scale, bro. You see this guy in the comics, 165? That man is not 165, bro. That man's like 210 minimum. Come on. 5'11 and 165 with all that muscle? There's no way. Super able human, leader of the Seven, enjoys intention, fame, and milk. Ugh.
As Homelander is probably the closest thing to Lucifer on Earth.
Remember Bad Future Biff from Back to the Future? Now give him superpowers and media training.
Vought's official story is that Homelander was an alien who landed here as a baby, a tale we're all familiar with.
And one that's total bullshit. Homie was made in a lab with Vought's proprietary super soldier serum, Compound V.
And he was a complete success.
Too much of a success. He was murdering rooms of terrified scientists before his umbilical cord was even cut. In the comics, Vought had to keep a remote-controlled hydrogen bomb strapped to him at all times because they had no idea what else could possibly kill him.
As he grew up, he was subjected to psychological conditioning to make him the greatest and most profitable hero of all time.
It wasn't long before he debuted as Homelander, the ultimate defender of the American dream.
Homelander possesses massively superhuman strength, speed, and durability. He can fly at hypersonic speeds, see through walls with X-ray vision, and detect a person's emotional state from just the sound of their heartbeat.
But you know you're done for when he breaks out his heat vision, which is strong enough to slice through crowds of people or split airplanes in half.
Or screams so loud that it shatters the eardrums of anyone around him.
Those are innocent bystanders whose ears are exploding, by the way. Oh yeah, he totally botched this mission to stop a plane hijacking, so he forced each and everyone on board to die in the resulting crash so they wouldn't reveal his incompetence.
Well, Homelander's powers may be real, but his heroism is a charade. Though he...
Competence.
Well, Homelander's powers may be real.
Trying to tell me this 5'11" man with all this muscle mass is 165? Get out of here. Get out of my face, bro.
But his heroism is a charade. Though he plays his part well, he cares nothing for the peons he's forced to protect.
The only thing he treasures is, ironically, his public image. Turns out being raised as a lab experiment doesn't create a healthy person. But don't worry, he eventually cleaned up his act and started a totally 100% healthy sexual relationship with a fellow superhero, who just happened to be an actual Nazi. Speaking of sex, Wiz, you know how I'm always saying we should figure out how Superman and Lois get busy? Well, forget that, because Homelander proved that they can't when his ejaculation blew his partner to smithereens. Who proved that?
Look, there's no way to sugarcoat this. Considering a human's load has much less mass than a shotgun pellet, it would have to be moving significantly faster to achieve the same kinetic energy, over 1,500 meters per second, or 4.5 times faster than sound.
That's right. Homelander can bust a nut faster than the speed of sound. Well, good night, everybody.
Yeah. You know what? Speaking on this, I'm gonna go on the rant for a little bit. I was thinking Superman should not be getting off to Lois. Talking about how Superman has sex, the nut is already something, but Superman should just not be nutting to Lois at all. You know what I mean? Because for your stick to bust, it has to get some kind of pressure, some kind of this is a nasty grant, but whatever. Some kind of pressure, some kind of stimulation from the thing. Superman should not be feeling anything from Lois. Remember in the old movies when a guy shot Superman in the eye and Superman didn't even blink? Basically, the force of a gun, the force of a bullet because it is less than wind to Superman's eye, a more sensitive organ. So how would he feel anything on a less sensitive organ like a from a lesser force or lesser form of pressure like Lois's box? How? My theory, Superman is the greatest orgasm faker of all time. Alright, stay with me. Mid-stroke, Superman is gonna use his super speed. Oh my god. I can't believe I'm going this deep. He's gonna use his super speed. He's gonna, quickly stroke. Oh, god damn it. Anyway, you know what I'm trying to say. He's gonna do his thing, and then he's gonna make it look like, he's busting from the thing. I don't think I said anything too explicit. YouTube, do not fuck with me right now.
Ooh, kinda sucks for humanity that they made this dude the most powerful being on the planet and a psycho murderer.
That's no exaggeration. Stillwell even commented that Homelander has proven immune to every weapon known to mankind, no matter how powerful. Humanity literally lacks the ability to kill him.
That'd include nuclear weapons as powerful as the Tsar bomb, which exploded with the energy of 50 megatons of TNT.
Actually, it could have exploded with twice that. But the Soviets who created it were afraid it would irreversibly alter Earth's biosphere and end the world. That's right, we all almost died.
And that's the kind of shit Homelander can shrug off no problem. He's strong enough to throw
yeah,
a
see,
jet
this is
with
one I
one
saw.
hand and fast enough to
jet.
outspeed a C4 explosion.
Despite being an emotionally stunted man-child, Homelander is still surprisingly cunning and able to manipulate those around him.
Though it probably wasn't too smart to piss off the world's angriest limey, Billy Butcher. Yeah, turns out forcibly fathering a bastard son with someone else's wife is not a good idea.
Of note, as unjustifiable as it is, to Homelander, this gave him something he never had before. Some small measure of control over his own life.
Being born Vought's star pupil meant he was under their thumb from the day he was born. His superpowered son was the first thing that was truly his and might be his best option for a new beginning. Or not.
This episode is sponsored
Alright, you've seen everything. Still think Omni-Man is crushing this. But let's get into this.
by Mint Mobile.
After years of fine print contracts and getting ripped off by those, it's
Easily compare hotels to find your perfect somewhere. Hotels.com. Book in the app.
time for a death battle!
Hey, it's Christmas.
Howdy, neighbor. Coco? It's warm.
What is he
You
looking
know,
at?
Nolan, Homelander is more than just a superhero. It might be cynical to say this, but he's a brand. And it's very important to me that that brand means something. And if I'm playing second fiddle to some goddamn alien,
Ooh,
what's really the point, right? What do you think, Debbie?
Oh!
Aw, she's shy. So, do we
Oh, that's
have
what he
an
was looking at,
understanding? Get the fuck out of my country.
I'm going to feed you your own heart.
Shit. That was a great line.
At least you know. I think that yeah, he's getting bullied right now.
Seriously? I'm not here for your country.
Here for your planet. Okay. Now that's like what? Do the train thing.
Never been hit by someone your own size before? You have to turn with the punch to reduce. Better.
Really bullied this guy. Oh, yes, that. Happy Christmas. Merry Christmas. Yeah.
What's the matter? Are you going to cry?
After I'm done with you, I'm gonna flash right that little shit son of yours! There's one less neighborhood! And every goddamn person you know!
Remember
Oh, he's gonna
what
do
I
the thing.
promised you. Now swallow. Merry Christmas.
Thank you. And as I expected.
KO! Wiz, if there's a god, it sure seems like he was working out some aggression there.
Despite Homelander's dominance within the world of the book,
7.2 billion times faster? Okay. 60 billion times stronger. Sheesh. See, this is what I'm talking about. It was never even, wait, yeah, it was never even close, bro. Counters Omni-Man's flight with attacking equilibrium, slightly more variety in abilities. Death battle. Whatever, I guess. They're just trying to give him something, I guess.
boys, he's a big fish in a small pond, relatively speaking. Homelander can move faster than sound, while Omni-Man can move faster than light. Homelander can survive a nuke, while Omni-Man can shatter the moon twice over.
To be fair, Homelander did have a couple of abilities Omni-Man didn't, like his heat vision.
And while Viltrumite healing factors have failed against continuous exposure to the heat of stars, that still took quite a bit of time, and there's no reason to think Homelander's heat vision was anywhere near that hot.
Hell, Nolan's tanked heat vision from the superhero Mean Supreme before, who can vaporize people in an instant.
Even if it was hot enough, Omni-Man's superior speed would cut him off before he could do any lasting damage. Similarly, despite being able to disrupt his equilibrium with his supersonic screaming, Homelander wasn't strong enough to capitalize on it in any meaningful way.
Plus, while Homelander is pretty devious when the situation calls for it, Omni-Man has been fighting and conquering worlds for thousands of years. He comes from a warrior culture based on fighting. Homelander, on the other hand, comes from a test tube and never had to push himself as a fighter because he was always so much stronger than everyone else.
And that's the key difference between them. One is a warrior, and the other is a bully. Homelander was never going to give up easy, but Omni-Man's skill, power, and Viltrumite heritage earned him the win.
When it comes to Superman knockoffs, Homelander had to eat his heart out.
The winner is Omni-Man.
That was good.
Death Battle is back, and we've launched a brand new...
Well, that went like I expected. If y'all have a reasons that you think Homelander should have won this, put it in the comments. Folks, show some support to Death Battle. I'd appreciate some support too. And I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye.